See that guy, this is about birthdays. He just turned 111, 124 days old. He broke the record in Australia for oldest person ever. They've on
Australia?
In Australia, on record at least, yes. His name is Dexter Kruger.
Well, this is someone, Kelly, that you need to sort of modify or not. What's the word?
Model my life.
Model.
Yes,
Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, because I want to live to be
That's your
100.
goal.
Yeah, and as usual, they went to him and asked,
What's your secret?
What's the secret?
Oh, this should be good from an old Australian.
Well, actually, you know what they were saying too was his mind is very sharp and has a great memory still, and he's 111 years old.
So that's 1910 he was born?
He was born in 1910. He's
Pre-World War I.
111, 124 days old. Yes, pre-World War I.
Do you know if he lives in a big city or the outback?
He lived in the outback, very remote. He was a farmer in Australia for years. He didn't retire from farming until he was in his mid-90s, and now he lives in a retirement home. I believe it's in a larger city, but I'm not sure exactly where. Anyway, he says that he credits being this old to plenty of salt, sugar, and fat in my life.
Well, that changes everything.
Yes.
What did you just eliminate from your diet, Kelly?
Salt, sugar, and fat. I just got rid of all three.
Yeah.
He says, I eat the balanced diet of salt, sugar, and fat. And his son says he does. He eats all that. His son's 74.
Yeah.
And he said he eats all of that.
Well, if you're a...
How old is his son?
74.
His dad's 111?
So he's 47 when he's born. His dad was.
He's
I know.
old.
I know. His son, I mean, he could have a 90-year-old son, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. At 111. He says he listens to the news each morning on the radio and does a daily exercise routine.
That's the key, the radio.
Exactly.
Listening to the radio.
Thank you.
Salt, sugar, fat radio,
That's
baby.
it.
Work your brain. Don't get off your phones and the TV. Don't get it served
God.
up that way.
I'll live forever.
I didn't say work in radio. I said listen.
My God.
Is that Ariana Grande? She just got married.
Is this new music, today's hits?
He said... Was it Ariana? Ariana just got married, didn't she? Is that,
Yeah, I've seen the pictures everywhere.
That was one of the 5 hot topics
fives
today, and I never did get to cover it. But she got married, and Chris Demm made an excellent point. We saw her and her husband, and they're like always under a blanket or hugging each other. And
I can't tell them apart.
No, that was my first thought when I saw that yesterday. I was like, they could be siblings.
Which one's the bride?
Chris Demm doesn't know which one's Ariana Grande and which one's the groom.
Yeah.
They did that without announcing anything, too. Didn't they just get married and just boom?
Well, they announced their engagement like last October, but and it was real private. It was at their home. I think it was like 15 people.
Oh, my God, that's exactly like West Coast Bob's wedding.
Exactly. Chris Demm just officiated. Exactly. One more thing about weddings, and then we'll get back to this guy who just turned 111. There was a wedding, a woman, I read about it. Her boyfriend had dumped her, and she didn't like it and was really upset. So she pretended she moved on really quickly, and she faked a wedding and put all the pictures on her Instagram, on her social media. She bought a dress. She bought all the stuff. She actually rented out a banquet hall, just her. She had a party. She had a guy pretending to be the groom, and she put all these pictures on her Instagram so that her ex would see it. And the ex kept texting and calling, wanting to get her back, and she ignored all the calls. And she said, I'm not going to say what I spent on it, but it was well worth it to get under his skin because he broke up with her. And
in the long run, he's lucky.
He did the right thing.
that's what everybody said. That's what everybody on social media
disturbed.
said.
Yeah, that is.
She went, and she would not say what she spent.
I'm not going to be ignored.
She sure did. Did you see that, Biggie? Did you? The headline was clever or crazy, and I can tell what you think. She's only 24, and she went through this whole thing.
That's insane to me.
And dress, photographer, hair done, bouquet, flowers, put her friends in bridesmaids' dresses, hired an actor to be the groom, and they pretended the whole thing. And as far as she knows, the boyfriend still thinks she's married to somebody else because she never has texted him back or anything.
Yeah, she just wanted a wedding.
Well, I think she wanted to make him jealous.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, he
extent,
saw
but
it and was probably just like, well, neat, bye.
No, he kept texting and calling, and all his texts were like, "How did you? Why? This is too fast. This is too fast." You know, and he was trying to get her back. She said, but she didn't want him back, and
he ended up okay.
Taught him a lesson. She says, the guy that turned 111, and he's the oldest person ever in Australia, 111, 124 days old, says he thinks that it was all the many years he worked in the bush. because he would be alone in the bush.
That is it.
A long
I think
time.
you work in agriculture, you're farming,
What
you're
he
out
said?
there,
Okay.
and you're working your ass off, sweating it out every day. You can eat all the salt and sugar and
Butter and fat.
Butter.
That's what he said.
That's right.
And he also said that he believes he lived at a time, and his son echoed this, when he was working, he lived in a time and a place that is a lot less stressful than today is. He felt like there was less stress when he was in his working years.
Could be that.
He believes. He said his son said he never went around chasing bright lights. He was happy being around horses and cattle and out in the bush and never cared about it.
Well, when World War II broke out, he would have been, what, 30-something?
Yep. Didn't have to fight in it, I guess. 30
Were Australians in the war?
Maybe they were in there.
And he's 30. He doesn't say
how he
fought in it.
escaped it.
He was born before refrigeration, and of course, well before.
Yeah, airplanes were 7 years old.
That's correct. He has lived through world wars, droughts, depressions, and pandemics. Born January 13th, 1910. And he says his exercise routine is also keeping him young at this point. Isn't that something?
If he remembers that far back, he'd remember the end of the war.
He does.
World War I.
Yes, he remembers all that stuff. He says. I mean, he's still got a great memory on him. Pretty impressive, I would say.